cold. It's freezing. Sweat is turning to ice. Mind over matter.
Correct me, bro.
No, I already had him counted.
What's that? I'll take one. Sure, why not? How are you, buddy? That's on my phone, but this is so much easier.
I don't think we're too far from starting. If you look, please.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum now. If you would please call the roll.
Senator
We got to get
Albritton,
Judge Hill out of here.
Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Figures, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, and Senator Barfoot. And we have a quorum.
Thank you. So I have an announcement up front is that Senator Woods and Senator Coleman have asked us to carry their bills over. And so we will deal with them at the next meeting. And first bill up is HB 227, Judge Hill.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the Administrative Office of Courts deals with judicial education, not only for judges, but for clerks and other administrative personnel. What HB 227 does is in conjunction with our public examiners, utilizes the 501(c), a nonprofit that's under the umbrella of the court for the purpose of utilizing not only public but non-public funds in
I move
order
for favorable
to,
report if there's no amendments.
Excuse me?
Move for favorable report if there are no amendments.
All right. First and second by Senator Bell. Any further discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. You did a good sales job.
yes, sir, thank you, sir. I
Senator
know when to
Albritton?
sit down and hush.
Senator Albritton? Senator Bell?
Amen.
Senator Carnley? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Elliott? Senator Figures? Senator Gavan? Senator Orr? Senator Singleton? Senator Smitherman? Senator Stutz? Senator Weaver? Senator Barfoot? 10 in favorable.
Okay, so Bill is giving a favorable report. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, thank you, sir, we appreciate it.
So Representative Lovvorn, HB 454, sorry.
Okay.
Hello, tell us about your bill, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Under existing law, when a search warrant is issued, there's 10 days allowed for that warrant to be issued. And what this bill would do is for DNA samples, which typically take a little more time in some cases, especially with the different kits. And this would allow for 60 days just for the DNA portion of that warrant.
Okay, motion for favorable from Senator Bell.
Second.
Second from Senator Elliott. Is there any discussion? Any objection to using previous role? None opposed, then the bill is given a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members.
Okay, next up is HB 266 with Representative Sells.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. Today I'm here to address the crime of reckless endangerment. Although we're not changing the original crime, what this is adding is a Class C felony if it involves multiple people, and it goes to a Class B felony if it involves multiple people and the use of a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument.
Move favorable.
All right, so there's been a motion by Senator Elliott and a second by Senator Weaver for a favorable report. Any discussion? Any objection to using previous role? Then I will. Okay, so Bill's given a favorable report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
And again, the next two bills are carried over. For those of you that came in late, Senator Coleman not feeling well today and asked us to carry those over. And then next up is SB 296 with Senator Barfoot. There is a substitute on this, but what I'd like to do is just carry this over until he comes back, and then so he can explain to us what a substitute does. So next up would be HB 37 with Representative Ingram.
I'll be carrying that. We substituted what we passed last Tuesday in the Senate. So there's a substitute in your packet, and it's the exact thing that we all worked on. Senator Singleton had an amendment. We worked on that, so we're basically we're going to substitute that bill for their House bill up here.
Move adoption of the sub.
And that has the amendment I made on the floor
Yes, sir.
in there as
Yes, sir.
well. Okay.
It's all engrossed.
So
We just took our engrossed version and substituted it.
Senator Figures, did you have a question?
I was just going to ask him to explain the substitute.
We made a lot of, the House version and the Senate version ended up being really different. So we just took the House version and substitute our version that we've already passed out of the Senate that everybody kind of had their hands on. And they knew we were doing that. They knew we were going to make a bunch of changes and ended up substituting it up here.
Well, that really tells me what it does.
Oh, this is one, the attempting to elude. If a second offense within 5 years, there's penalties. Third offense within 7 years, you're on bond. If you're on community corrections, if you're wearing ankle monitor, and all those have enhancements in the bill.
Okay, thank you.
And Senator, one of the
Thank you,
things
Mr.
we did is that if you're eluding but by foot as opposed to a vehicle, that's still a misdemeanor. And there's some things that can kick it over into it if you hurt somebody or whatnot, but just running alone is not a felony. And so is there a motion to adopt the substitute? I'll move to adopt the substitute. Second by Senator Singleton. So any objection to using the previous role for adoption of the substitute? If seeing no objection, the substitute is adopted. So now we're on the bill. And a motion from Senator Coleman Madison for favorable, second from Senator Carnley. Any objection to using previous role? There being no objection, that HB 37 is given a favorable report. HB 429, Representative Rafferty.
He's tied up in another hearing, so I'll handle that one. This is the unmanned aircraft, the drones basically over ticketed stadiums and concerts and things. There are exceptions in the bill for, if you own the property, if the owner or concert promoter gives you permission, things of that nature. So there's all the exceptions in there to cover them. This is just the John Q. citizen flying a drone over, trying to get them a free concert or free football game or something, and then
There's been a motion for favorable by Senator Figures, a second by Senator Coleman Madison. Senator Albritton.
We're going a little bit too fast. Let me ask a couple of questions.
Fair enough.
questions
Yeah,
are
fair
open.
Hey, I was just, you don't slow me down, and we're going to move on. But
I know it. Somebody's got to get run over here. Who does this cover? I mean, I look at your list of 7 exceptions. Every high school event is not covered, and anyone doing official business, whether employment or volunteer, is exempted. Who would this affect?
Basically, it's my understanding, and it's Representative Rafferty's bill. I had about a 5-minute notice when I come in here, but my understanding it's more the people at concerts that are flying the drones out and filming the concert and trying to basically sell the concert footage and things of that nature is the big problem they're having.
So if we put something in here that if they were doing it in order to make commercial gain from it, would that be an objection?
We'd have to ask him.
Okay, that's one question I have. And the thing that comes to my mind is the Senior Bowl. This would include, you could not do this at the Senior Bowl, is that correct?
Yes, you could do it if you have a permission. These are people that don't have permission. Like at football games, both teams have people that fly drones.
And that's
and
where I'm
covered.
headed.
Yeah, all those people are covered under this bill. That's an exception under this bill. Wait.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because you're cheap and didn't want to buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Correct. Then you'd be in violation. And it's a safety thing too, because you're seeing drones fall on people too. Some of these drones today are a little bit bigger than what you expect.
All right, if I may continue on, what about the person that's at the Senior Bowl that has his ticket and he has his phone there recording the game and streaming from there? This doesn't cover that, does it?
This don't have anything to do with that.
Doesn't have anything to do with that.
Just the unmanned.
So you're just
aircraft.
prejudiced against drones.
As a drone operator, yes, sir, I'm against myself.
Anyway,
This is
I
just
think I've slowed this down enough.
This is just unmanned aircraft.
I would bring up one point that maybe we should discuss before we get to the floor is this, the whole safety issue, right? I mean, we've come up with a bill here where we've made some amendments about drones around the state capitol complex because of the fact that they can be weaponized. And it's a concern of mine about the exception for high school athletics and junior high athletics, more from a safety. I'm not worried about them broadcasting the game. It's more of a safety issue that maybe we need to slow down and think about, Senator Albritton.
Well, I would beg to differ. One of the, I think, gaps in this bill is that it doesn't protect. If you can fly the drone over a high school game, an individual could not only broadcast that, but he could also be taking bets on that. This is I always bring that up. Okay.
Gambling.
So you're talking about having all kinds of opportunities here that we're not protecting against.
I think this bill protects against that because you got to have permission.
No, any high school and middle school games are exempted from this. Number 7.
They are, but it's because you have both teams that are already flying the drone themselves. You'll see drones at both end zones.
Oh, I know that they have their
live.
folks doing that. I'm talking about, someone else doing it. He can do it. Anyone can do it now.
Right.
So anyway, just a thought.
Mr. Chairman, motion to carry over.
I have a question.
To the sponsor get here.
Okay, there's a motion to carry over. There's a second.
They got
I
some
have-
questions,
I
I'm
have
sorry.
one question.
Okay, let's address Coleman Madison.
I was first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Senator Auburn said that it was, that high schools were excluded. But, I understand, but it says to prohibit operation of unmanned aircraft near a ticketed entertainment event. Ticketed event, entertainment event is a middle school or high school event.
That's one of the exceptions. Section B is a listing of all those that are not, does not come under this
And
protection.
we've got somebody here that can address that if you, that-
Well, first of all, let's go to
okay.
Senator Figures.
I have a very basic question. How do they find out who is manning the unmanned aircraft? Do they pull the aircraft from the sky? And what if it's like 4 or 5 going around? How do they tell which one is operating illegally? Or do they have to see a person actually manning it? How will it be enforced? I guess it's my basic question.
Refer to-
Yes, if you come forward and state your name and, well.
Expert might be a stretch, Senator.
Are we worried about gambling now?
We're not worried about gambling either. I'm Jim Barton with Barton and Kennedy, and we represent Live Nation Ticketmaster. This bill was drafted, and it's being introduced, I think, in 36 different states. At our venues, at Live Nation venues, we have an issue with folks flying drones over a concert or a sporting event, recording that, and then selling the content. We also have issues with drones falling out of the sky. I was at a Kenny Chesney concert about 2 years ago. Chesney's team had a big drone up flying, and there were a couple of other small drones flying around. They stopped the concert to ask the folks flying the small drones to please quit. If it hit this $100,000 drone, was going to be a problem, and if that drone was to fall into the crowd, it would have been, it could have caused some serious injuries. It was a very large drone. We removed the high school football stadiums at the request of a House member. They said that it would be too hard to regulate. Some teams fly a drone to record what's going on, and in real time can coach up their offensive line or defense at the same time. And it's typically a high school student that's flying the drone for the team for either side. Each school may be flying drones. So we removed the drones at the request of a House member. And as far, Senator Figures, as far as enforcing it, someone with the facility would have to be able to identify who's flying the drone. There's really no other way to enforce that measure if we don't see them flying the drone.
But how are we going to make a law and put a penalty on that violation, but it's nothing in place or no one has the authority to say who it is?
Right. So the venue itself would have to be able to identify who's flying the drone without permission, and then alert law enforcement that, hey, we have a drone in our space right now and we need it taken down.
And law enforcement will come and take it down.
Well, most of the venues have security, and most of the security, a lot of times that security is law enforcement that's moonlighting. So I don't know how the arrest powers quite honestly would work, but that's the intent, is to have someone within the facility stop the operator. At this point, we have
if you
nothing.
find the operator.
Yes, ma'am. You'd have to be able to find the operator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, theoretically, you could be sitting in the parking lot at Orion Theater in Huntsville and in a, A-team van back there where no one can see you and be close enough to operate it, and it'd just be, but that's the onus is on the operator of the venue to figure out who that is.
Yes, sir. Well, there's,
Okay.
if they don't want to be called, odds are we probably can't
And
catch them,
Mr. Chairman,
depending on their level of technology.
they could be anywhere from a quarter of a mile away and do that. But the one thing about it will happen is that once the battery get low, most of these drones will come back home. And they're gonna go back to where where the control is, because they got the GPS on them, and once it senses itself, and once the battery get low enough to make it back home, it's gonna come back to the owner.
Correct.
Yeah.
What kind of drone have you got?
I got
Okay.
3. I have 3 different ones.
So, all right, there's been a motion. We've had some conversation. There's been a motion to carry it over. There's the second from Senator Figures. Is there any objection to using previous role for a motion to carry over? All right. The bill's carried over. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And next up, we have HB 93, and can't recall who's carrying this. Okay, well, that was good enough. So HB 93 is carried over. Then HB 249 with Faulkner, which is I believe, tracks the changes to
So this
that we've
is-
already passed Senator Orr's bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is tracks the bill that we amended in committee, and it's now the companion bill, and I'd move favorable.
Okay, I have a
Because
motion
we've seen it before.
and a second from Senator Albritton. Any discussion? Any objection to using previous role? Okay, so Bill's given a favorable report. Thank you, Senator Orr. Then we're on arson bill, another Faulkner bill, HB 328.
I'm gonna try to carry it. Looks like to me, Faulkner just didn't like us today.
He told me where he was, but I forgot.
This is the, changing the arson law in line 20, while another person is present in the building at the time when either the following occur, the fire explosion has started with conjunction with, theft, explosion, accompanied by result damages of $25,000 or more. And it's got a minimum mandatory of 20 years. If there's many questions or concerns on it, I'd rather carry it over to let him explain.
Well, we've got someone, I think, in the audience that can
Okay.
explain it.
Okay, we got somebody that's familiar with the bill?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Faulkner
Thank you,
didn't
Mr.
pass
Chairman.
that along to me.
Pardon me? Pat McWhorter, on behalf of the Alabama Grocers Association, we asked Representative Faulkner to carry this bill for us. Especially those of you in Birmingham know, we had two incidences of arson in one Walmart store in, I guess, was that in Vista, Oxford?
Homewood.
Had to be Hoover,
Homewood.
I think. Homewood, that's right. I'm sorry, I was coming to that. And so there's a difference between setting a fire in an abandoned house and setting a fire in a 180,000 square foot supercenter with a couple hundred people in it. So we talked to Othny about how could we increase the penalties when you're endangering that many lives, especially the second case of arson there caused over $5 million worth of damage, and it was done in order to shoplift the store. They created the diversion and then were shoplifting on the other side. So this will increase the penalty, hopefully deter people from trying to do that again.
Well, I'll move favorable. Is there a
Second.
second. All right. Any discussion on the bill? Any objection to using the previous roll? Okay. Let's call the long roll on this one, please.
Senator Albritton? Senator Bell?
Aye.
Senator Carnley? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Elliott? Senator Figures? Senator Gavan? Senator Orr? Senator Singleton? Senator Smitherman? Senator Stutz? Senator Weaver? Senator Barfoot? And favorable.
Okay. Bill's given a favorable report. Thank you. HB 111, Representative Rigsby. I haven't seen him. I think we're going to need to carry that over till, unless somebody's prepared to carry it for him. till he's here to explain it to. I remember we've had it before, but I don't believe it's passed this committee yet. I think I got hung up last year, I believe. So, okay, next thing up is HB 132, Representative Estes. Okay, that one will carry over as well. And then SB 261, Senator Orr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is out of my wheelhouse a little bit with the domestic relations world, but right now in a sole custody issue, the primary factor is if it's going to create instability. What this bill would do is say, is it in the best interest of the child? It makes that's line 38 and 39, and then it gives several factors under there to determine what's in the best interest of the child. And on line 46, you see the stability as part of that equation of taking the child and allowing the other parent to have some custody or have joint custody. So again, this is only in a sole custody where the parent that doesn't have any custody is coming to petition that there's been a material change in that, presumably in that parent's life, and they'd now like the opportunity to spend time with their child. So I will answer any questions. I'd move favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's been a first and a second by Senator Coleman Madison. I've told y'all before I don't do divorce, so I'm looking for y'all to.
This would bring us in compliance in kind of Tennessee, Georgia, a lot of other states use what this bill does, and it would bring us in that realm. Right now, we're an outlier.
Question.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Does the judge still have some discretion in this?
I would say this actually expands the judge's capability to determine what's in the best interest of the child using all these factors. Right now, all they can look at, mostly what they can look at is the stability of allowing the other parent, the petitioning parent, to have some custody. But this, what's in the best interest of the child, and that's what our situation is founded on, and that's what it is. If you have joint custody and petition to change joint custody some way, I want 50-50 as opposed to just weekends and 2 weeks during the summer. I want joint 50-50 type custody. That's in the best interest of the child. So this puts that same standard that you have in joint custody for sole custody.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, Senator Singleton, you want to be added if there's no objection to using previous role, but adding Senator Singleton as a aye, then that bill is given a favorable report. Thank you, Senator Orr. And if somebody would mind reaching out, the House is in session. I see Representative Rigsby just came in, but if somebody could text Representative Rafferty and Butler and Estes to see if they can make it up here before we go. So, Representative Rigsby, HB 111.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for my tardiness. Yes, we are on the floor and just slipped my mind and ran down here. Someone gave me a text, so I appreciate that text. HB 111 is the same piece of legislation you had before you last year that passed out of this committee, just didn't make it to the end. This is the anti-cloning legislation, and just to give you a refresher, everybody asks why we're doing this. This is not a bill that we're reacting to something. We're actually just trying to prevent something. And so what HB 111 does is it doesn't allow for us to make an identical duplicate copy if science ever was to get there, and we're not far from it now, of a human. And so it just kind of puts some guardrails in place so that we don't get into the process of making more Representative Rigsby's to go out there and rule the world. So if with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
I'll move favorable, Mr. Chairman.
Well, there's a second. I have a question.
I'm sorry. There's been a motion and a second for favorable report, but Senator Elliott.
Senator Stutz, have you looked at this? Are you comfortable with this language? I just want to make sure we don't. Yeah.
Senator Albritton.
Would the language of this bill in any way prevent any kind of scientific study?
It doesn't. It
Regarding
actually
stem cells or
But it doesn't go into that. All this does is it says it would prohibit an exact duplicate copy of a full human. So whether we're talking about organ growing for organ transplants, that's excluded. The other exclusion in here that was added was for agricultural, because agriculture does do some cloning of seeds and different types of things. They would be excluded as well. And the reason this came to light is other countries are actually going farther than the U.S. is in this because they don't have the guardrails we have in place, but it doesn't go far enough. So the reason I'm bringing this is so we don't have to come back and say, hey, we've produced X number of clones. That might be a problem. One of the things that somebody brought up, would a clone have voting rights? That's a great question. We just haven't gone there yet. And so this has just put some guardrails in place so that we don't commodify life and we don't prohibit the medical aspects or the agricultural aspects.
Well, I needed to clone myself 15 years ago, but it's too late now. I'm getting towards retirement. So let's do a long roll.
Senator Albritton. Senator Bell. Senator Carnley. Senator Coleman Madison. Senator Elliott. Senator Figures. Senator Gavain. Senator Orr. Senator Singleton. Senator Smitherman. Senator Stutz.
Aye.
Senator Weaver. Senator Barfoot. 9-1-1.
Got to watch out for little Bobby in the science. So the bill's given a favorable report. Thank you, Representative Rigsby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So I saw that Representative Butler came in. Well, I'm sorry. Rafferty came in too, so he's ahead on the calendar. So Representative Rafferty, if you'd come forward, please, on HB 429.
Good afternoon.
Okay. So. Okay, HB 429 has been seconded. Any objection to using previous roll to bring this bill back up? So, all right, we're back on the bill. So, HB 429.
All right, so thank you. So, members, this bill has a lot to do with both public safety as well as intellectual property kind of protection. It goes through this with a couple of ways. Essentially, it creates a fine and then a misdemeanor if somebody is to fly a drone around a ticketed event. And I was told there's probably a few questions or points for clarification that might be needed, so I'm happy to address any of those at this time.
Okay, specific. Okay. I'll have to start positioning myself like this right here.
Let's
go. Senator Figures.
Yes, Representative Rafferty, I wanted to know, how would it be enforced?
So how would it be enforced is essentially, so this would be a ticketed event, a concert, and then I think it would largely be security that would be looking out for these things. And then if it was, then you would know, you would get a...
No, but how would you get to the person to know whose drone it was?
I think that is a great question whenever we're dealing with these kind of drone issues, and that's why it's so important to kind of stay on top of it, to have enforceable mechanisms here.
Who's gonna enforce
if there's a
it?
coordinated LED drone show or something along those lines, you can't have a drone just flying in there and running into other drones that might be permitted or licensed to be there, and then create a potential accident.
Well, my concern was that we would create a law without knowing who was going to enforce it. And then we're putting a penalty on it as well. But how do you get to that person who is
So
doing the violation?
I think if you have a police officer that's watching for this kind of thing, and you see the police officer watch the drone and then bring the drone back down to where the controller in it, where it's landing, then that might be one possible route of enforcement at that point.
Well, should we have an amendment saying that the person has to actually be seen operating the drone?
That would be, I think that would be an important point of clarification.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other questions? All right, it's been a motion favorable from Senator Bell, a second from Senator Coleman Madison. Any objection to using previous role? Okay, Bill's given a favorable report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members.
And I saw that Representative Butler was able to make it up from the House. So we understand y'all were juggling today.
Yes, sir.
If you would tell us about your bill, please, HB 26.
Yes, sir. And what this bill is kind of catching fire across the nation. And states that have passed it have seen recidivism drop dramatically with sex offenders. What this bill it's dealing with is sex offenders convicted of a sex offender involving a child. It allows pardons and probation. It authorizes them, it doesn't mandate it, to restrict like social media, tablets, anything that connects to the internet, gaming systems. And it also allows them and a court to assign sex offender treatment and the polygraph examination. And the polygraph is what I'm told is the real key to reducing the recidivism. It is not a shall, it is only a may. It's just adding another tool to the toolbox.
Okay, motion for favorable by Senator Weaver, second from Senator Bell.
I want,
Senator Singleton.
how is that when polygraphs is normally not admissible in court?
Yeah, and I'm just speculating here, but I would imagine because they know somebody's watching and going to be checking them for that. But that's what's I've been shared with the big component is the threat of the polygraph that has reduced the recidivism on it. I mean, and that's just what the states that have passed it. That's what they're reporting.
See you rubbing your brow. Oh, but just in time because your bill's the only one left after this one. So, all right, we've got a favorable in a second, so let's do the long roll.
Senator Alberton, Senator Bell, Senator Carnley, Senator Coleman Madison, Senator Elliott, Senator Finkers, Senator Gavan, Senator Orr, Senator Singleton, Senator Smitherman, Senator Stutz, Senator Weaver, Senator Barfoot. 12 in favorable.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a statement before we move on? I would like to say that we moved through about 12, 13 bills in 38 minutes, and it's been quite congenial, and I don't know if we ought to move to a afternoon hearing time in the future, given the productivity this afternoon.
I thought that was meant to target it at the chairman rather than the time slot, so.
Just saying.
Okay, next bill up is SB 296, Chairman Barfoot.
All right, thank you, Senator Gavan, committee members. This bill is a bill you might remember, I think a week or two ago, we did have some comments. I'd asked Bob Maddox with AOC to come up. I don't know if Bob is here or not. Bob is here. Bob, would you mind coming up and just giving us a brief refresher on what this bill does and how it relates to CASA and trying to protect children throughout the state?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I spoke to a lot of y'all 2 weeks ago on this bill. Basically, this is...
Bob, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Actually, I should have said this before. Members, y'all have the substitute in your package? And so I'd ask you to talk about the substitute now rather than the bill in its original format. I'm sorry.
Yes, so last Tuesday, representatives of my entity, Alabama CASA Network, CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, as well as representatives of the Office of Prosecution Services, Department of Human Resources, and Network of Children's Advocacy Centers, met to discuss some tightening up of the language. There were some concerns and issues raised, not major, but it was mainly clearing up the language. Mainly kind of cut back some of the duties. I think the original substitute bill really had a lot of the duties that could have been addressed more in our Alabama CASA local program policies and procedures. And so we basically limited duties to just minimum duties of CASA volunteers. And again, we're not taking away judicial discretion in any of these changes. Judges still have the discretion to appoint volunteers. They still have the discretion to describe what their duties are in the appointment order. They also have the duty to, or authorization to allow access by employees and volunteers of these programs. Another major change was we tightened up the access language. There were concerns about unfettered access to certain records. So the judge is going to have the discretion whether or not volunteers and employees have records, reports, and information, and we have expressly excluded prosecutorial records, law enforcement records, and forensic interview recordings and records. There were concerns that CASA volunteers and employees would have those types of records. So we did expressly exclude those. Also, we clarified language that CASA volunteers are not parties to these dependency and termination parental rights cases. That's similar to foster parents. In the current law, foster parents get notice of hearings and reviews. In these cases, they have a right to be heard. And even CASA volunteers won't have a right to be heard. They're just getting notice of the hearings and reviews. And if they have a court report, they can certainly, if the judge authorizes it, to provide testimony in those hearings and reviews on the court reports. But certainly those hearings and reviews will not be delayed simply because the volunteer is not present. If the volunteer is not present, that language was added that those hearings and reviews will continue even though they got notice. So essentially, those are the major changes in the new substitute, and we think it's a much better bill. We really thank the representatives of the Department of Human Resources, the Children's Advocacy Centers, and OPS for meeting and coming to this agreed substitute.
I would agree with that. Collaboration by all those involved to try for one goal, and that is to try to have some additional resources and eyes on issues that affect children throughout the state in those types of hearings. Senator Coleman Madison, and then I'll entertain motions on the bill substitute.
I have a question.
Thank you, sir. I want to thank you for bringing the bill. How long have we had CASA volunteers?
The first program was started in Jefferson County, your county, in 1985. So almost over 40 years.
And in all that time, we did not have any kind of guidelines or anything in the state that.
Well, actually, there are laws on the books now. This is basically just a clarification law to authorize what's already in place. The CASA program's been in place, like I said, for almost 40 years. And there were various local programs started as independent nonprofits. So I was at the Administrative Office of Court several years. I'm with Alabama CASA Network Incorporated now. But I would assume they had the General Juvenile Court Authority and the statute to appoint these volunteers. Eventually, in 2009, this legislative body passed the Alabama Juvenile Justice Act, the revised one, and that gave a little bit of authority for juvenile courts to appoint trained volunteers in 12-15-304D. Also, there were a couple of court rules that were passed over the years to authorize these volunteers to be in juvenile courts and other courts.
Were the guidelines at that particular time consistent statewide, or did each county have their own variations?
Well, basically, there's an association called the National CASA GAL Association for Children. It's headquartered in Seattle, Washington. So I don't know the full history, but currently all 16 programs in the state, as well as Alabama CASA Network, is a member of that organization. Oh. And they have standards that local programs and our entity have to go by. Okay. Also, Alabama CASA adopted standards for local programs. The board did back in November of 2025.
Thank you.
Senator Figueroa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's no definition in this bill for trained volunteer. what is a trained volunteer?
Basically, in the CASA program, volunteers are recruited, screened originally. They have to go through background checks and a CAN register check through DHR. And there's a requirement of 30 hours of pre-service training for all volunteers. That's, again, according to the National CASA Association standards. So
Is there any statute that we have in Alabama that gives that definition? That it can be
there's
found?
not a definition of trained volunteer.
Don't you think there should be? I mean, because when something is not defined, you leave it open for various interpretations, and especially when we're dealing with children, I'd like to see a standard definition in this bill. So if you could give that to me, I would offer it as an amendment on the floor.
I'll be glad to work with you, and I would ask that those that are interested, as I am, to work with Senator Figures on that. She makes a valid point. So,
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
and with that, if there's no other discussion, I'd move for adoption of the sub. A second, Senator Albritton, Senator Gavan. There'll be second 2A and 2B. Got a any opposition using previous roll? Hearing none, sub is adopted. Any discussion on the bill as substituted? Hearing none, any opposition using previous roll on that? All right, bills get on favor report. My understanding is that is the last bill on the agenda. Thank you all.
Also, real quick, I wanted to acknowledge Pam Seidler. Raise your hand. She's the State Executive Director of Alabama CASA Network.
Thank you, Pam, for being here. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you all.
All right, members, look forward to seeing y'all next week, and we'll probably, but hey, I'll take your 1 o'clock.
You in charge of that?